At the heart of Facilicom is your desire to improve the life of people through the rooms in which they live, both at the office and at home. Today, I'm here with my colleagues Augusta, Josephine, and Laura. My name is Charlotte, and we are Freya Consulting. So while you have been faced with the complications of a lack of growth within facility management and commodification in your core business, you of course still have your main desire to improve the life of more people. So you're looking to grow. And for that reason, we have been looking at the question of what strategic direction you should go in to allow for more growth opportunities in the next 5 years, while of course focusing on your core values. And this is where we came up with Happy Helper, which is the holistic healthcare solution that personalizes the relationship between the caregiver and the care receiver, which creates value for both of them, along with a third stakeholder, the municipalities.
So we first began by looking at the different growth opportunities you have within your existing business units. And we assessed these based on market size, growth, societal impact, the fragmentation of the market, and fit with your core capabilities. Now, to begin with, facility management and catering might look very attractive due to the market size and growth. However, these don't have the high societal impact that we also know is a really big value for Facilicom. And you're already a market leader within facility management. However, if you look at healthcare, there is a high potential for impacting the society around you. And there's actually also a fit with your core capabilities, as you already have the business unit Inclusio. Now, to assess the different solutions we came up with in healthcare, as this is what we propose you go into, we base these on your current or your core values, with these being result-oriented, sustainability, promoting a collaborative workspace, and being innovative.
So we made an analysis of the different stakeholders in this situation, being the caregivers and Inclusio, the care receivers, and the municipalities. And we looked at which pain points they face in the way the service is currently run. And we see that it starts already when a caregiver is assigned, because a care receiver can have multiple different caregivers, which confuses them and stands in the way of a strong personal connection being formed between the two people. While the care being given to the patients is of a very high quality, some caregivers are also looking to specialize within a certain field in order to both improve the service they provide, but also have a sense of personal development. We also see that an area which is especially a pain point for the municipalities is costs of healthcare. And this is where strong healthcare can help lower these costs, because especially in fragile periods of time, such as when a patient is coming home from having been at the hospital, mistakes in the healthcare provided can lead to costly readmittances to hospital, which we would help with avoiding through a solution like this. So while the care being given is of a high quality, it is of course always in the interest of all three stakeholders to increase it, both for the caregivers performing a good job, the care receivers feeling that they get value from the help they get, and the municipalities because they will end up with happy citizens.
So in order to address these pain points that we've just been through, we came up with the proposal of Happy Helper. Now, this is a holistic healthcare service where you have a personal relationship between the caregiver and the care receiver. But let's look at how this is actually done. So, Happy Helper entails having a personalized service, whether it's a primary caregiver for the patient. Now, this primary caregiver provides a reliable and trusting environment for the patient, but actually also for the caregiver, so they're able to know the patient, their needs and preferences. We've also seen that having a connection to the patient is something that patients value very highly, as this creates a space of trust and safety for them. Now, with Inclusio, you're already doing very well within the healthcare service, which is why we propose that this stays your primary activity for this. However, we do also see there is a possibility of bundling your already existing services that you already have, such as cleaning and catering, where the caregiving and the primary activity of it will be government funded. These secondary activities, such as if a person wants to have their house cleaned once a week, or for example, have some food catered to them a couple of times a week, this is something that would be paid by the patient if they're interested in these services.
So as the personalized aspect and the strong personal connection is a key aspect in this solution, we also have the matching initiative, where central inclusion staff will match caregivers and care receivers based on factors such as where they live, their age, or interests. So an example of this is Brita and Hans. She is 78 years old and lives in Rotterdam, and she has dementia, so she needs special care. She has also always loved literature. And this is where Hans comes in as her caregiver. He is 27 years old and lives close to her. He's specialized in caring for dementia patients, and he has a real interest within this field. So he has learned core capabilities that he needs to provide her with the special care that she needs. Luckily, he's starting to get into literature, so they can also bond and form a personal connection over this, which will help increase the level of satisfaction with the service provided.
So we also did have, we had a slide on the journey for the caregivers, but unfortunately it got lost when we had to hand in. So I'll try to go through it orally, and I hope you can follow along even though we don't have the visuals. But we've now told you how Inclusio can cater to patients across the Netherlands by offering more personalized care. But let's now take a look at how you can engage your employees more to ensure that they're actually able to provide this high level of service. When we looked at the caregiver journey, we found important possibilities for quality assurance across 3 steps. Firstly, when hiring inexperienced caregivers, you should ensure sufficient education, and this can be done, for example, by subsidizing the employees through financial aid for their educations for the proportion of the cost that's not currently paid by the government. This should be done in a manner where employees are paid back over intervals in the coming 3 years to ensure that they stick around and that you can actually use their well-appreciated capabilities. Secondly, when new employees are hired, they will be thoroughly trained in collaboration with existing employees. These will be experienced, and it will happen through a training period where the existing employees will be assisted by the new employees when visiting patients. By doing this, the new employees will learn best practices by the experienced employees, and they'll also be able to adjust to the code of conduct, which is crucial for establishing trust. Also, the current employees will be able to have more time to spend with the patients in order to build on these strong relationships. And lastly, for the 3rd step, for existing employees, you should encourage continuous learning by offering courses in specialization and advancement of skills to allow employees to personally develop throughout this time. Similar to the initial education, this should be funded by you in a manner where employees are paid back over time in order to secure a longer tenure. So through both the matching function on one side and allowing employees to advance in their specific fields of expertise, Happy Helper will allow you to solve the key pain points which Charlotte mentioned earlier. So if we look back at the patient journey, which you saw before, we'll now see that consistency in caregivers builds stronger relationships to clients and increases the trust in the healthcare. These caregivers are still able to provide the excellent service which you've been known for years, but they now have the ability to continuously learn and adapt as caretaking needs evolve and new demand arises. When patients are occasionally hospitalized, because this is very hard to reduce, the risk of incurring rehospitalization is instead significantly reduced because of frequent visits and better caretaking enables better health of the patients. Lastly, both caretakers and care receivers will be able to enjoy close relationships to each other and a better service overall. So we know that your business model is highly dependent on being from business to customer. So we decided to look into the value propositions for all 3 stakeholders. for your employees. They'll now be able to focus more on the specific patients to develop the closer relationship and advance and specialize in the fields that we know they're really, really willing to. For the municipalities, they'll be able to enjoy happier citizens and better well-being in general for the entire society, as well as lowering the cost for hospitalizations. Lastly, for the end customers, as Charlotte said, they can be highly confused if they have very changing caregivers, and this will now be significantly reduced because they'll have consistently high quality, better communication, better relationships to their caregivers, and in the essence, reduced loneliness and better well-being. So all in all, this caters to all three important stakeholders for Facilicom and Inclusio.
And this also makes a lot of sense financially, because we know that you always play to win, and there is room for you to do that in this market. Right now, you have a revenue of approximately 90 million euros, and the total market is at 450 million euros. That makes that you have approximately 18% of the market. But by offering this unique and differentiated product with high selling points across all municipalities and to the end consumer, we believe that you have a unique opportunity to win more contracts in the future. If we look at the potential revenue streams that you will be able to get if you go out and win these new contracts, we see that you can almost double your revenue if you have just a 30% market share and have a revenue stream of approximately 170 million euros. If you go in and become the market leader that we know you can be, you'll go out and have a revenue stream of approximately 250 million euros. It's because we know you play to win, and because we know that you have the strengths and capabilities that we're bold enough to say that you have the opportunity to become this market leader. And that's only on the caregiving side, because adding the additional elements that my colleague Josephine told about earlier, you'll be able to increase revenue streams with 65 million euros, and at the same time also add social value. Let's first take a look at the additional revenue streams. These will be comprised of catering, extra cleaning, and approximately sum up to the number I just mentioned before. You'll also be able to help 12,000 hospital visits to be avoided and get a lot of new employees in new jobs.
So in order for you to succeed in having happy people making happy patients, it's crucial to ensure sufficient implementation, both internally and externally. Internally, the key step is to ensure involvement of your employees and efficient communication of the training program using middle-level managers who are close to the caregivers. Externally, it's crucial to reach out to the municipalities, which Augusta just mentioned, in order to also reach the final customer. So this has to be done efficiently.
And if we just take a look at the risk, we see an issue if the municipalities are not progressive enough. But that's here where we believe the value-added element of really focusing on the decreased cost and the increased happiness of the citizens will be where we will mitigate that. We can talk further about that in Q&A.
So we believe that Happy Helper will help you overcome the complications you face and ensure that you have opportunities to grow in the next 5 years. Thank you very much. We will now be taking questions.